Today I'm going to run through a comparison of hiking mats from Exped. I've got a range on display behind me here and help you decide which one's right for you. So before I get into sizes too much, let's talk about insulation value. Each mat's name aligns with its R value. Think of it this way, with R value, the higher the number, the more insulated you are from the ground that's underneath you. Conversely, the lower the number, the more heat you're going to lose into the ground. The ground is going to act as a big heat sink overnight. In hot weather, that doesn't really matter. In actual fact, it's an advantage. You know, if it's really hot, having cool ground underneath you and sucking that heat out of you is a good thing. It's going to help you sleep. Conversely, if you're slept on snow, you don't want the snow pulling all the heat out of you all night long. You need a decent thermal resistance value or a decent R value to ensure that you're going to get a good night's sleep in that circumstance. Something to remember though, is if you have a high R value, you're not necessarily going to cook. It doesn't generate heat. You're going to be hot anyhow because the surrounding environment is hot, not because the insulation value of the mat is making you hot. The other thing to cover off is ultralight versus Dura mats. The ultralight mats are made out of a lightweight material. It's going to be more compact, they're going to be lighter. If you're carrying them and you want to cover real distance and lighten your load, you're going to be looking in the ultralight series. If you're going to want an air mat that's more durable, hence the Dura name, they're a heavier fabric, they can take a little bit more abuse. If you're not necessarily carrying them long distances, or even if you are, if you want something that is more durable, then you're looking towards the Dura series. One more thing to cover off in the naming. We've got sin mats and down mats. For the most part, the majority of the range is now a sin mat. So what that means is it's full of synthetic insulation. There is still a couple of mats within Exped's range that are down mats. So that means that they are down filled and the insulation value comes from the down inside it as opposed to a synthetic insulation. I'm going to talk about the Ultras, then we'll talk about the Duras, and then I've got a couple curveballs over on my left. Starting out at the very beginning for what we stock is the Ultra 3R. So it's light, it's compact, it's available in a bunch of different sizes. So what I've got on display here is the medium mummy mat. There's a long wide mummy mat. You can then move into a rectangular mat like I've got in the 6.5 that's on display next to it. That 6.5 is actually the LW, so you can see the difference between what a medium mummy shape is and how much more space you get in that larger, long, wide rectangular mat. The difference between, you know, the lightweight mummy and the heavier weight long wide might only be 150 grams. And if you're looking for comfort, that might be a compromise that you're prepared to make. You're going to choose a 3R if you're a lightweight summer, spring, autumn based hiker. You're going to choose that because it's the lightest, most compact package that you can get and still gives you a good amount of insulation from the ground to stop you from losing any heat. The 3R is your ultralight 3-season use mat. Once we step into the 6.5R, we're looking at 4-season use. So why would I choose the 6.5R? 6.5 is that mat that is going to do you year round. Now, it doesn't matter if you don't plan on camping on the snow, it's something that is going to allow your sleep system to work, whether you're in a frost or whether you're in warmer weather. It's your do-it-all mat. Again, it's available in a whole variety of sizes. Even though it's a 6.5R, this is the mat that is going to see you for year-round use. Bottom line with the 6.5R is that is your 4-season ultralight mat. It's going to be your do-it-all hiking mat. If you're after something light, choose it. All right, so moving on to the 8R. So the 8R is one that we don't sell a lot of, but it's for somebody that wants the advantages of a lightweight mat in a package that's going to give them a little bit more thermal insulation. So if they're regularly on the snow and they've still felt that they've been a little bit cold and they want to add a bit of extra insulation to their sleep system, well, the 8R is going to be the one that you're going to choose. So we're going to talk about the Duras now. The Dura is a very similar mat to the Ultra. It's just made out of a heavy, more durable material. What that means is you've got a little bit more puncture resistance. It can handle a little bit more abuse. Probably a mat that you would choose if you were wanting to sleep out on the ground without sleeping in a tent or having a ground sheet, it's a mat that is going to handle a little bit more rough and tumble. You're less likely to puncture it, but these are still air mats. So if you get a puncture, it's going to go flat. What I've got on display behind me is something that's pretty cool within the Exped range, and that is a double air mat. So I've got it on display in the Dura 6.5 Duo M, so it's the smallest of the double mats. You can get it in a long wide as well. Now what's really cool about these double mats is they are effectively two separate mats that are joined together. That means that each side can have its own pressure, so you can have somebody that's going to have a higher pressure in their mat or somebody that's got a lower pressure, and the two mats aren't going to separate inside the tent. By having those mats joined together, it means that you've just got one solid platform that is less likely to move around inside the tent. Talking about the Dura range of mats, you're going to choose that if you want that little bit extra peace of mind as far as puncture resistance and durability. The trade-off is bulk and weight. They are heavier and they are bulkier. The 10R is the only mat that we've got on display here that is a downfilled mat. You've got the highest R value of any of the mats that we've got on display. If you're wanting a mat that can do anything, you're going on, a ski tour of Greenland or something like that, and you just want one reliable warm mat, then it's probably the mat that you're going to choose. I want to briefly talk about inflating air mats. Exped's come up with a really good, easy to use system. So what they have for the majority of mats is this, which they call the Snozzle Pump Bag. Connect it onto this end, give this a bit of a wave, and then roll the top down. And you can see I've got a whole bunch of air in here. And then what I do is I just push it out and into the mat. These pump bags from Exped are really good, easy to use, and a nice lightweight solution. They're also included with the Ultras and the Dura mats to make it easy. It's not something that you've got to buy separately. I'm going to briefly talk about non-inflatable mats. So what I've got here is the Flex 1.5R. The advantage of a solid foam mat is that it can't go flat. The disadvantage is pretty plain to see. It's bulky. Weight-wise, it's not too bad, but at 1.5R and in an inflatable mat, you're going to get something that is far more compact than what this is. But if you are after redundancy and something that's not going to go flat on you, then going for a solid foam mat is potentially the path forward. Now, I've got the 1.5R here. This is the 3R down here, and as you can see, there's a fair size difference between the two just to get that extra warmth. The 3R, it is thicker, it is going to be more comfortable as well to sleep on. They are also a good way of adding extra warmth and redundancy if you've got, say, a 3R. So let's say you've got a 3R mat for spring, summer, autumn, and you've got a nice lightweight package, but then you're going to do a ski tour or a bit of winter camping, and you want to add some extra warmth to your system. Well, buy one of these and put it under the mat. By putting this under your mat, you're going to increase that thermal resistance. You're going to make your 3R suddenly 4.5R because you can add the values of these together. And you're also going to give yourself a little bit of redundancy from punches because you're carrying a foam mat. We're still talking lightweight mats, but I got a couple of curveballs. Exped still produce a lightweight self-inflating mat, sort of half air, half foam. They, as a self-inflator, inflate very slowly. It's like the mats that we were using 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that were all self-inflating mats. It does mean they're a lot thinner, so they don't have the thickness of the inflatable mat. So typically with a self-inflator, you're looking at a lower R value, and that's 3.8 with this one that we're looking at. It is going to be bulkier and heavier because you have foam running all the way through the mat as opposed to a lightweight synthetic insulation. Why would you choose one of those? Well, you're nostalgic about the days gone past and what it was like with a self-inflating mat. You want a little bit of redundancy, but at the end of the day, if you do puncture one of these, it still won't be great to sleep on. The little bit of foam in there needs that air pressure to give you a good sleeping platform. The blue mat in front of me here is the Versa series. So the Versa range is Exped's entry-level range into inflatable mats. They're a good mat. They've got a 4.5 R value in the one that we're looking at here. That Versa 4.5 is a little bit bulkier. It's more like a Dura mat. It's actually got an inbuilt hand pump as well, so you don't have to use the Snozzle bag to blow them up. And it's the mat that you're going to choose if you're wanting something for school camps, you know, scout camps, that sort of stuff. Or you're just getting into hiking and you want to get yourself a mat that is maybe not quite as exotic as one of the other options. So I want to talk about the purple elephant in the room, and that is the Mega Mat Ultra. I have included it in the guide for hiking mats. It is a little bit extreme. It is a little bit over 1.1 kilos, and it's only got an R value of 4.4, but it's 10 centimeters thick, and the fabric that they've used on the top is a stretch woven fabric that conforms really nicely. If I was to pick the most comfortable mat here, it's actually going to be that guy. It is going to be the closest to sleeping on a big, thick, plush mat of foam, even though it's an airbed. The trade-offs with it is bulk and weight. But if you're looking for the most comfortable mat, and you know, if you're car-based or you're not hiking that far, then maybe that's a sacrifice that you're prepared to make for comfort. Take a really close look at the Mega Mat Ultra. I hope you've got a better understanding of Exped's range of inflatable mats. From ultralight through to comfort, there's going to be something that's perfect for you.